everybody and hopefully not nobody, I'm JJumbo, and Sonic the Hedgehog, between that and Mario, they've been my childhood favorites. I played the party mode of Sonic and the Secret Rings, or I would just watch my brother play the main campaign. Mario and Sonic at the Sochi 2014 Olympic Winter Games was more of the party game for my family, compared to Mario Party. Even though we had Mario Party 2, which a lot of people, including me, consider that one of the best Mario parties. Also, why did they make this one of the longest titles for an Olympic-themed minigame collection? I can't wait for the sequel, Mario and Sonic and Crash Bandicoot at the Sochi 2014 Spring, Winter, Fall, Summer Games 2, featuring Minecraft Steve and Knuckles with new Funky Mode for the Wii U, not to be confused with the 3DS edition. I watched Sonic X when I was a little baby, and then Sonic Boom when I was an older baby. I don't know if there's a hot take or not, but even though the game isn't really that good, the show is actually funny. I had Sonic and SEGA All-Stars Racing for the DS. It's a decent Mario Kart clone, and it isn't awful on the DS. I had Super Smash Bros. For Wii U. That counts. It does have Sonic in it. So, basically I had the core essentials for any Sonic fan. But I never really experienced the first Sonic game. Sure, I've beaten the Christian Whitehead mobile port, but I think I've played more of the mobile port for Sonic 2. I can't even recall beating the actual Genesis version of Sonic 1. I think I've played bits and pieces of the Genesis original, but every time I do, I just move over to Sonic 2 or 3. But I think I've waited long enough to create an actual opinion of that game. So let's go and do that. Getting into the title screen. SEGA! Ooh! That SEGA call is so good! I think that the only thing that can rival that kind of bliss is the Namco jingle in Pac-Man World 2. But the Namco jingle isn't as iconic as that SEGA call. I think the Namco jingle is more reassuring to you that it's gonna be a pleasant time. But the SEGA call screams that it's gonna rock! I do love when companies do this. It makes it so you can actually remember a company. Cause tell me, what company made Family Feud on the Super Nintendo? Oh! It's GameTech. Obviously. After that, you see the title screen. This is really iconic. It's Sonic in this emblem, and he's wagging his finger at you. And it's telling you this ain't your grandpa's platformer. This actually could just be your grandpa's platformer. But Sonic has this attitude that makes you want to see what he's all about. Then, when you hit the start button, not like it tells you to. How could someone be this careless? How would someone in the 90s know what to do if it doesn't tell them to? Look how many buttons this controller has! Even though there is a lot of buttons on a Sega Genesis controller, you would have enough buttons to play with an Atari 2600 controller. All you really need is a D-pad and a button to jump. There isn't a run button like in Mario. Instead, you'll need to build up momentum using the level design. Getting to top speed isn't too difficult. All you would need to do is hold a direction for a couple of seconds and then you're at your top speed. The real challenge is keeping that high speed. Because now that you're going faster, it's harder to react to the obstacles in the way. It also doesn't help that this game doesn't have an enormous viewport to it, especially compared to modern displays. So reacting to traps is hard. And the designers made it so keeping that top speed is hazardous. There could be an enemy in the way, then it damages you, a spring might launch you back where you came from, or it could just put you in a lower route. I think having different routes is a really interesting way to increase the replayability of games. Because if you know one route, whenever you try a different one, it could be completely foreign to you. But whenever I play a Sonic game, I only stick to the one route I know, and it's like the back of my hand. I know it by heart. How long has that been there? Most of the time, these lower paths are more dangerous and harder to stay at your top speed compared to the higher ones. But last I remember, the lower paths also have more goodies in it, like special monitors that give you power-ups. First off, there is a shield. It protects you from one hit. Then there are two power-ups that have a timer to them. There is an invincibility monitor. This makes you invincible, so it doesn't make you faster. Then there are the speed shoes. These ones do make you go faster. Oh, so that's the one that makes you go faster. I don't really love using the speed shoes in this game, because compared to most other 2D Sonic games, I take this one way slower. I think part of it is because I don't have the level design more down to memory, and compared to other Sonic games, this one has less forgiving level design. But the invincibility monitor is actually pretty useful. Not being able to take any damage gives me enough courage to actually start running through everything. Then, the final and most valuable power-ups are the rings. As long as you're holding on to one ring, you can survive just about anything.
Ha! Is that all you got?
So now you could have the thought of skipping just about everything and keeping one ring in hand to go as fast as possible, which is a way to play the game, unless you want to get the true ending, where you have to collect all 6 Chaos Emeralds. For some reason, it's not 7 in this game.
That's fine, I guess. It was a first Sonic game and all, so they were still figuring things out. It's not like another game would have a weird number of Chaos Emeralds or something, right?
A fan theory I like about some games having an odd number of Chaos Emeralds is that each island you go to has a special kind of rock. And in most of them, there would be 7, and would be named the Chaos Emeralds. But there were a few that deviated from that, like how in Sonic CD, it's the Time Stones, or in Knuckles Chaotix, it's these magical rings. It also could explain the weird number of Chaos Emeralds in Sonic Spinball, Sonic Fighters, and in Sonic 1. But in Sonic 1, they don't give you the power to go into Super Sonic. All they do is that after you beat the game, they grow more plants, which this theory could explain why they wouldn't let you turn into Super Sonic. They aren't the kind that let you do that.
So what you're saying is that there isn't really a good point on why you should be grabbing the Chaos Emeralds in this game.
Yeah, kinda.
Then why would you do that?
For me at least, it feels like I'm going through and experiencing this game, not just beating the levels to beat it. Instead, I'm being skilled enough to grab all 6 Chaos Emeralds. The way you need to achieve them is by having at least 50 rings at the end of a level, and then a massive ring takes you to a special stage. The special stages here have you trying to go through a maze, but this maze is rotating. It's a really nauseating experience trying to grab them. The only way you can fail is by running into goal objects. It only really affects you if you go down a wrong path, but it's sometimes easy to go down the wrong paths. Then, there's more objects that might help or hurt you. There are blocks that change the direction the maze is spinning, then there are blocks that change how fast it spins. Sometimes there'll be points where you want it to spin another direction or move faster, but then it could also hinder you and fling you into goals. These ones aren't too challenging. I think the real challenge is keeping 50 rings at the end of a level. This is one of the harder Sonic games, for me at least. And more of the levels have objects that will make you take damage and lose rings. It's also not like there's a huge amount of rings in the given levels, unless you want to explore every nook and cranny of the level. There might only be around 70 in a path from start to end, so taking damage once means you might miss out on the special stage in the level, and there's only 12 chances to get it, because on the 3rd level, the giant ring won't show up. So keeping a shield is really important, so you can take 1 point of damage before you have to worry. Also, unlike how in Mario, where you have to jump on enemies' heads, all you have to do is spin at them. The ways you can spin is either by jumping or rolling by pressing down on the D-pad. Then, whenever you roll down a slope, you can build up way more momentum compared to just running down it. But if you were to roll up a slope, it would be infuriatingly slow.
You know, I'm so glad they kept to the laws of physics, for a blue hedgehog.
Most of the levels have a clean mix of when you would want to roll and run. First off, there's Green Hill Zone. It's the tutorial level and the most forgiving one. It teaches you that you'll be needing to build up momentum to traverse throughout the levels. Sadly, I think this is one of the best levels in the game, which sucks because they knew how to make wonderful levels, but decided to make ones that feel like they should be in a different game. Take Marble Zone, for example. It has you wait for blocks to move, slowly, and then you have to push blocks to get them to move around. You know what the first thing when I hear Sonic is? That's right, his buff arms!
Now, only if there is a Sonic character known for being really strong. That's right, Johnny from Sonic Rush Adventure!
But seriously, this level makes more sense to be in a game about Knuckles, where you take more time exploring. And this level has walls that reveal power-ups and shortcuts. If they change that, where instead of you needing to reach the end, you have to find hidden treasures as Knuckles, I would hate that way less. Even Marble Zone's theme doesn't really match Sonic. Whenever I think about Sonic levels, it's wildlife, a city, or something robotic, not an ancient ruin. After that slog with Marble Zone, we go to Spring Yard Zone, which fits into the theme of city. This one feels closer to Green Hill Zone than Marble in terms of how fast you can go. You can fling yourself throughout these half pipes, which is always a blast in Sonic games. But then there's these elevator sequences where you have to wait for them to go up and down. But if you're a pixel off, you can get crushed, even if it looks like you're safe. But after that, you go on to Labyrinth Zone, which is water. And Sonic is one of the worst series to do water gameplay. First off, he can't swim. So now you're just playing the game, but it's slow. And it feels like there's more slowdown than normal when playing this level. The worst part about it is that there is an air meter that after a little bit, a 5-second timer will go off, and is one of the most terrifying jingles I've ever heard. I think I actually, for a solid year, had it as an alarm to wake me up. Don't ever do that. Worrying about drowning isn't too bad. There will be these bubbles every once in a while, so I only heard the countdown maybe 3 times. Then we go on to Starlight Zone, which I think I've noticed a pattern with how these levels are laid out. It's fast and fun every other level, and then in between them is some of the worst Sonic designs I've ever seen. So I'm gonna enjoy Starlight Zone while I can, because I know the next one will be bad, which, yep, Scrap Brain Zone is pretty bad. It's not as bad as Labyrinth or Marble, but it's still in the same ballpark as them. They even decided to make Labyrinth Part 2 and Scrap Brain Act 3. The only way I've gone through the level is by taking the shortcut by running past the falling platform, but after that is the final zone.
This level has to be a true test of skill for everything I've learned. I mean, I do know how to play Tetris, but this is Sonic I'm playing.
This final boss isn't anything difficult or scary. You just have to wait for him to come down, and then you attack him. Even the lasers aren't hard to avoid. You just run before they start targeting you. It's sometimes hard to react to which one he comes from, but it's not like the time limit is a real issue.
Haha! I finally got you!
Most of the bosses aren't too hard. First, there is a wrecking ball. All you have to worry about is not being near the wrecking ball, and then you just attack the Eggmobile. That's kind of how most of them work. All you need to worry about is not being under the machine, then you attack it. In Marble Zone, he spits fire from under it, and then you attack. Spring Yard, he stabs the floor, and then you attack him. Starlight, he launches bombs from under him, then you attack it. Labyrinth doesn't actually have something I would consider a boss fight. You have to platform through a vertical section with traps scattered throughout, but it's underwater and you have a timer. Generally, these bosses aren't anything too crazy, and with a couple of them, you can bounce yourself on him and not worry about the attacks.
Most people love the music in this game, but I never did. Like, take a listen to this.
The actual compositions of the songs are really good, but the instruments they chose are awful. They sound so disgusting. Why would anyone think that this was okay? In other games that remade levels from this game, it sounds amazing, but here, it's a bad soundtrack. It's so bad, I would even recommend turning off the music and sound effects. There's even a benefit to doing that, because it makes a game run way faster.
So they chose the worst instruments, and somehow it runs bad. How is that even possible?
This game has a real big problem, at least to me, for running bad. There'll be massive amounts of slowdown, so now nothing gets done. And it's really hard to see in front of you. I really think that if they wanted to make this game, they should have waited till the next generation to fix it, or they could have optimized the game better.
Hey, so I noticed that you were talking about Sonic the Hedgehog 1, and you said the music on it sucks and the game runs bad.
Yeah, what about it?
What version are you playing?
The Game Boy Advance one. It seems like the same game. Can't be that different, right?
No! The Game Boy Advance one sucks! Everyone knows that!
Oh.
To fix things, I'll give you a package to make it all better. Now you better talk about the correct one, alright?
Oh, okay.
Wow, this game is actually pretty good, and the music sounds so clear and beautiful. Why would anyone think it's a good idea to release that Game Boy Advance one?
Oh.
Actually going through this game, it's a pretty good game. I think it's one that really benefits from people replaying it over and over again to master it. It's not like any other Sonic game I've really played. It's slower, which means it takes more thought to actually go through it. It's not like it's my favorite Sonic game. That would go to Sonic Mania. But I think everyone should give an honest, thoughtful playthrough of it.
But now that I've done that, I think I should play another game I really haven't experienced.